Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 Spoilers channel. Sally should be happy that she is no longer with Billy for these 5 reasons. According to spoilers and updates for the young and the restless, Sally Spectra should be relieved that she is no longer with Billy Abbott Jason Thompson for 5 reasons. Let's talk more about these 5 reasons, and feel free to leave your thoughts in the space provided below. The first reason: Billy has issues with commitment. He constantly has. The first reason is that Billy has always struggled with commitment. He has dated 14 people, including his marriages, and been married 4 times to 3 different women. Billy's relationships ended almost often due to infidelity, and he had affairs with 2 of Jack Abbott's wives while Jack was married to them. That's very low. When was the last time you saw Billy spend time with any of his children? Billy's commitment issues are present in many aspects of his life. In addition to Delia Abbott, who passed away, Billy had a daughter with Victoria Newman, with whom he was married twice. Despite his infidelity, Victoria adopted his son with Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan, and she couldn't hold the child responsible for his birth. The second reason is that Billy has a propensity to undermine himself. Billy has a propensity to undermine himself in both relationships and his work, in addition to his issues with commitment. Self-sabotage mostly occurs when he allows his personal issues and life to get in the way of his career, which is not surprising given that practically every company he has worked for has been owned by family members or in-laws. He began as a disobedient adolescent who worked at tasks he had no business doing. He even stole from Catherine Chancellor, Jean Cooper, who he saw as a grandmother figure. For a brief period, he worked as a waiter, bartender, and even a model. His most famous example of self-defeating at work was when he bought the magazine Restless Style. He began publishing defamatory stories about the Newman family, created a lot of enemies, and kept drinking. Reason number 3. Billy can be self-destructive and has addictions. Billy may be self-destructive and has addictions, including drinking excessively as a youth and once getting alcohol poisoning. During his Restless Style years, he resumed drinking and even experienced a drunken nightmare in which the spirit of his deceased father, John Abbott, Jerry Douglas, paid him a visit. The role of John as the ghost of Christmas future in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol was reminiscent of this story. Billy was really affected by the nightmare when he showed him what his life would be like if we kept drinking. Billy made a commitment to change his ways, but his efforts were short-lived. He eventually developed an addiction to online gambling, for which Jack sent him to a rehab facility, and he started betting on horse races instead. The reason why number 4, Billy could develop a revenge obsession. In addition to being self-destructive, Billy may also be preoccupied with getting even. Losing a kid can be extremely painful, particularly if a parent's error was a contributing factor. When Billy lost Delia, she ran out into the road after her small puppy after he left her alone in his car with it while he stopped at a store to buy some ice cream. She was shoved into a bush after Adam Newman unintentionally struck her in the dark. The truth wasn't revealed until later. Billy was so consumed by his desire for vengeance on Adam that he drove him to the edge of a precipice. After that, Billy drove Adam off the cliff with his car, leaving him for a few years thought to be dead. Reason number 5. Sally can do better because she has previously been with destructive men and cheaters. Sally should be relieved to be free of Billy for the 5th reason. She's had bad relationships with men and cheats in the past, and she's capable of better. She spent some time in Genoa City with Adam, and although he is beginning to show signs of improvement, their relationship was not particularly healthy overall. She had a relationship with Thomas Forrester in Los Angeles, who is much more irresponsible and self-destructive than Adam or Billy. Subsequently, Sally lost her mind when Wyatt Spencer, Darren Brooks, ditched her for an old girlfriend. Come on, Sally. You need to stop being a bum magnet and start dating a man who genuinely loves and appreciates you. Check in to see what's going on with YNR at the moment. For news, updates, and spoilers about the young and the restless, return here frequently. Unsolicited advice, intrigue, and plotting. According to Tuesday, September 23rd spoilers for the young and the restless. There will be some shocking revelations in GC. A character offers some unsolicited advice to another. Two pals decide their next course of action, and someone receives an enticing invitation. What can we expect from Tuesday's performance? It's time to find out. Two best friends decide what to do next. Two best friends from Genoa City may be down, but they're not out, according to Tuesday, September 23rd spoilers for the young and the restless. Audra Charles and Sally Spectra will plan their next course of action. Do they choose to pool their resources and establish their own communications empire? Perhaps they both think a fashion or design house is a better option, though. In any case, the brunette and redhead will be determined to overcome their current situation. Fans will have to watch to see what these two powerful women come up with, though. Claire Newman finds it interesting. Claire Newman will be fascinated when her friend Holden Novak, played by Nathan Owens, extends an intriguing invitation to her across town. In a clip from this week's YNR preview, Holden suggests Claire visit Los Angeles. Alongside him, given that she is still somewhat involved with Kyle Abbott, how will Claire react? But what harm could there be? Kyle traveled to Nice without her. Read this, the young and the restless spoilers for the next 3 weeks. Kane's enemies rise. Nick and Sharon act. Noah's mystery begins. Uninvited guidance from Victoria Newman. Speaking of Kyle, according to Tuesday's teasers for the young and the restless, Claire's mother, Victoria Newman, will give him some uninvited counsel. There's nothing more embarrassing than having your prospective mother-in-law provide her opinion on your courtship. Despite her constant skepticism about Kyle, Victoria has never opposed the romance. What guidance will Vic provide Kyle? And will it be able to win back Claire's affection and trust? 5 factors that make Sally happy that Billy is gone. Complicated romances, convoluted pasts, and characters who are powerless to resist their own darkest impulses are all hallmarks of the universe of the young and the restless. After a turbulent history in Los Angeles, Sally Spectra finds herself in Genoa City, where she has experienced a great deal of heartache and mayhem. Now that she is at last free of Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, she has a unique chance to pause, take stock, and consider why this is actually a good thing. Billy is a wandering storm of unresolved pain, broken promises, and harmful tendencies, despite his ability to be charming and captivating. Sally deserves stability, respect, and a partner who can match her ambition without dragging her into trouble, because she has already experienced her fair share of toxic relationships. We'll go into great detail about 5 reasons why Sally should be happy that she broke off her relationship with Billy Abbott below, as well as how this could be the pivotal moment she sorely needs. First of all, Billy has always struggled with commitment. Billy Abbott's lack of commitment in almost every area of his life, not just sexual relationships, has long damaged his reputation in Genoa City. Billy appears to be a man who yearns for stability, love, and connection, but his past betrays a completely different picture. He has dated at least 14 women and been married 4 times to 3 different women. The most of these relationships ended in infidelity, betrayal, or self-destruction. Billy's history of broken promises is a huge warning flag for Sally, who has made numerous investments in men who have let her down. She would very certainly experience heartbreak if she committed herself to someone like him. He has cheated on partners, transgressed family boundaries by having affairs with women who are intimately related to his brother Jack Abbott, and shown that he is incapable of prioritizing his family when it matters most. Perhaps the most obvious indication of his difficulties with commitment is his disregard for his kids. He lost Delia Abbott in one of the worst tragedies in YNR history, and he has children with Chelsea Lawson and Victoria Newman. Billy regularly isolates himself from his children in spite of these life-altering duties, putting his whims and desires ahead of consistent fatherhood. Why would Sally, who has battled for her individuality and independence, want to commit to a man who finds it difficult to be there for the people he loves the most? Sally avoids becoming just another name on Billy's lengthy list of failed relationships, another woman who gave more than she received, and another casualty of his restless heart by leaving him. The second reason is that Billy tends to undermine himself. Billy's propensity for self-destruction is one of his most noticeable weaknesses. He always manages to blow up whenever he appears to be about to achieve true success, be it in his career, personal life, or romantic relationships. This individual has repeatedly seized chances that would have solidified his status as a revered Abbott successor, only to sabotage them with careless decisions. One obvious example is Billy's ownership of Restless Style magazine. By printing defamatory articles about the Newman family and making enemies everywhere he went, he transformed the journal into a weapon rather than a force to be reckoned with. Billy's persistent issue of letting his emotions control his judgments is shown in his incapacity to keep his work commitments and personal grudges apart. Aspiring and imaginative, Sally doesn't require a companion who constantly brings her down with chaos. She knows directly how hard it is to bounce back from ruining your own future because she has a history of making snap decisions, including a fake sickness that nearly ended her career in Los Angeles. She would have been stuck in a never-ending cycle of failure if she had paired up with Billy, who reinforces these inclinations instead of overcoming them. Sally releases herself from the fallout from Billy's self-destruction by leaving him. She stays away from being the woman who needs to fix his mess, make up for his errors, or give up her own aspirations in order to keep his collapsing world stable. Rather than worrying about her partner covertly igniting the foundation beneath her, she can now finally concentrate on creating her business. Billy's addictions and potential for self-destruction are the third reason. Billy Abbott has spent the majority of his life plagued by addiction. Billy's addictions have damaged not only him, but also everyone who has loved him, starting with his teenage alcohol misuse that resulted in alcohol poisoning and continuing through his subsequent struggles with gambling and irresponsible escapism. Even though he has experienced epiphanies and even made significant reform efforts, his recovery rarely endures. He alternates between sobriety and relapse, making promises to alter his behavior but frequently reverting to his old habits. For Sally, this is a blazing neon sign that warns of danger ahead, not just a red flag. Men who are manipulative, destructive, or emotionally distant have influenced Sally's life. She would be putting her own security, career, and emotional health at jeopardy if she were to fall into Billy's toxic cycle. Billy's relationships are frequently impacted by his addictions. He gambles when he feels helpless, lashes out when he is cornered, and drinks to deal with loss. Billy was horribly reminded of the extent of his self-destruction by the notorious Restless Style nightmare, in which the ghost of his father John Abbott materialized in a Dickensian vision. And even if he was momentarily motivated to change by such experiences, history demonstrates that he consistently reverts to risky behaviors. Sally should have a partner who encourages her rather than drags her into a never-ending cycle of addiction and rehabilitation. She breaks off her relationship with Billy, removing herself from the position of caregiver, enabler, or fixer, which she has performed far too frequently. Reason 4. Billy may develop a revenge obsession. Billy's fixation with vengeance after the untimely murder of his daughter Delia is arguably one of the story's worst episodes. Even though it was devastating and understandable, his incapacity to use his emotions in a healthy way put him in peril. Billy's anger toward Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, who had unintentionally hit Delia with his automobile, grew. Billy committed himself to ruining Adam, almost murdering him when he drove him off a cliff, rather than waiting for justice, healing, and time to play out. Adam is not the only one with this obsessive tendency. Billy has shown time and time again that when he feels offended, he can lose all sense of reality and put retaliation before logic. Because of his tunnel vision, which offers little opportunity for stability, love, or partnerships, he is not only unstable, but also hazardous to those who are close to him. Sally understands how poisonous it can be to get caught up in cycles of rage and retribution, since she has a personal history of making bad decisions out of desperation. She can't afford to stay bound to a man who is more concerned with making amends than establishing a future. She can avoid being collateral damage in one of Billy's vendettas, whether it be against Adam, Victor, or even Jack, by separating from him. Reason 5. Sally can do better because she has previously been with destructive men and cheaters. The fact that Sally has previously been in enough toxic relationships to last a lifetime and is now in a position where she can demand better is the most powerful cause to rejoice over her separation from Billy. Adam Newman, who brought passion and mayhem to Sally's life in Genoa City. Wyatt Spencer, Darren Brooks, who left her for his ex, and Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, who controlled and exploited her in Los Angeles, are just a few of the men that let her down during her romantic past. Sally's self-esteem was eroded by each of these relationships, which led her to believe that heartbreak was a necessary part of love. However, leaving Billy offers her a unique chance to change the course of her life. Sally can now finally concentrate on finding someone who appreciates her, values her aspirations, and provides stability rather than instability, rather than chasing men who undermine themselves, cheat, or betray her trust. More significantly, she can learn to stand alone and define herself by the empire she creates, the friendships she makes, and the confidence she regains rather than by the men she dates. Billy doesn't have to be the end of her tragic love story, even though he was just another chapter. In conclusion, Sally's new beginning. Heartbreak is unavoidable in the long history of the young and the restless, but a character's ability to rise above the ashes is what makes them unique. Despite Sally Spectra's history of being burned by toxic men, leaving Billy Abbott is an opportunity rather than just another failed romance. A chance to break old habits, to expect more from life and love, and to value herself independently of other people. She doesn't need Billy as a partner because of his never-ending cycles of commitment issues, addiction, self-sabotage, retaliation, and betrayal. Liberating herself from him is a freedom, not a loss. Not only should Sally be relieved that Billy is no longer with her, but she should also consider this as an opportunity to take center stage on her own terms. Now the question is, will she grab it? Or will she be lured back into mayhem by Genoa City's limitless supply of bum magnets?